Thank you for being part of the Carnaby Crush presented by Local Discs. So first of all, a big shout out to Local Discs who jumped on board as title sponsor. They've provided us with a bunch of prizes and vouchers and a bit of cash as well, which is pretty huge when you run a tournament without those sponsors. It makes it pretty tough to cover costs if you don't have them. Also, thanks to Ragtop Designs for doing the maps, the whole maps. She Yarn Knits and Crochet by Candice for doing our trophies, and for Stones Promotions for helping with the trophies as well. They've all chipped in a little bit to make the tournament as smooth and efficient and as cool as possible. We'll start with some housekeeping. The first one is toilets. There is toilets that will be open all day in the rec center. So if you're by hole 1 T-pad, if you turn around and walk away from the basket, there's a giant building there. And I think if you just go in the lobby, there's toilets in there. In the afternoon, the soccer club should be around, so you might be able to sneak into their toilets, which are a little bit closer as well. Water, there will be an esky at hole 1/10 T-pad. So you can grab some bottles of water from there. And I'm pretty sure there is at least one drink fountain out on the course, or if not a drink fountain, a bottle refill station. I think it's near hole 9, and I think there might also be one near hole 2. So yeah, there should be plenty of water around. Parking, there is parking near hole 1. So there's some undercovered visitors parking. That's the best spot to park because the parking over by hole 7 by the main entrance, there has been a couple of break-ins in there in the past. The visitors parking is, there's a few security cameras around, so park in there, and it is free on the weekend, so you don't need to buy a ticket or anything. You can just park there and it's in the shade and it's safe. I have here notes about grass trees. I don't actually remember if there's any grass trees on the course, but if there is, you can take relief up to 1 meter from the last fronds. The schedule for the day is we'll have the course set up by 7:30, and the first round will start at 8:30. From 7:30 to 8 is check-in time. So even though we won't have a players meeting in the morning, please still come and check in from 7:30 to 8 so that we know that you're there. If you don't check in, then I might delete you off the PDGA. So if you just rock up to your T-pad and you're not there, then you might find that you're not on a scorecard and you won't actually be able to play. So please don't forget. Once you've checked in, you're free to go out and practice the course and warm up and do whatever you want. We will be teeing off at 8:30 sharp. So if you aren't there and your card tees off without you, then you'll get pinged some strokes for missing a hole or however many holes you miss. So just try and get to your tee pad at least 5 to 10 minutes before we tee off. So 8:30 tee off time. We'll finish round 1 in however much time it takes us. It just depends how many late sign-ups we get. We could end up with 50 people playing. I think we're at about 41 or 42 now, which means we will have a couple of cards of 5. But if we get to 50, we'll have 10 cards of 5 and the course will be full, so it could be a little bit slower. But lunch will be when the last group finishes, and I think because we'll all be kind of moving around, waiting for the group in front of us, we should all finish at the same time, and we'll have an hour lunch break before we start round 2. When we finish round 1, just pop into HQ and check in and see what time round 2 will be starting, and I'll let you know, and then you can shoot off and get some lunch if you want. In terms of places to get lunch, there's plenty of shops across the road at Carrawara Shopping Centre. So there's Subway and Macca's and HJ's and stuff. So you can go in there and grab it. Safety out on the course. There should be not too many people out and about. Park runs on Saturday, so we'll miss them. And yeah, there might be the occasional dog walker or uni student just kind of wandering through. So as always, if there's people in the way, give them right away. Be nice and polite and friendly. Say hi. And if there's a chance you're going to hit someone, please don't throw. Just wait till they're out of the way completely. Yes, Joe. I can see Joe pointing to herself saying, me. Hole 5, 6, 5. I think you got someone at Curtin before. And then once we finish round 2, sorry, I'm going to jump back into timing for the day. Once we finish round 2, we'll have presentations at the course. I was trying to tee up with the soccer club there to use their club rooms, but we played some phone tennis and then I gave up. So we'll just find a spot under a tree or something and do presentations. Their bar should be open, so if you want to grab a drink after, you can do that as well. Go say hi to the soccer people. Yeah. So cards for Sunday will be uploaded tomorrow night or tomorrow evening. I won't do it today because I'm still waiting for payments and stuff and make sure we don't have any late pullouts. And if I do it too early, then it's all going to change. So check back tomorrow. I'll probably post on Facebook saying that they're up as well. And scoring, we will be scoring using the PDGA scoring app. We need 2 people per group to score, which is potentially going to change for next year, where we could see everyone in a card has to score. So you can either do it on the app or you can do it on the PDGA web browser. And if there's a conflict on the hole, then it will let you know, which is really handy. So just, yeah, score as you go. And then at the end, make sure everyone's happy with the scores before you submit them. The event code for scoring will be Carnaby, which is just CRNBY. So just delete all the vowels, and that will be the access code for the event. That is all my housekeeping stuff. So we'll go through some hole descriptions now, and as we do, I'll shout out some hole sponsors. And then we'll go through the CTPs, and then that will be about it. So it should be a nice quick one. So hole number 1, 57 meters, par 3. I'm going to share the map while I do this, so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. So hole 1, 57-meter par 3. We played at the short basket. All of this garden bed over here on the right of the fairway will be OB. It used to play as hazard when we played Aussie Disc Golf Day, but it's kind of overgrown now. So if you go in there, it's not going to be much fun. There will be an optional drop zone just in front of the tee pad. So if you throw it straight off the tee pad into the bush and you've made no distance, you don't have to go back to where you crossed or the tee pad. You can just go to that drop zone just to make life a little bit easier for yourself. There's also a Mando, which will be a light pole over on the right that you have to go to the left of. Yeah, there'll be a marked drop zone next to the Mando as well if you miss it. So there'll be an optional drop zone for OBs by the tee and then the Mando drop zone by the Mando. But you shouldn't miss that on hole 1. That hole is sponsored by the tournament sponsor Local Discs. So thanks to them for that. Hole 2 is a little sidearm hole. We play from the concrete tee pad that used to be the old hole 1 tee pad, and we're going to the basket on the right. Once again, there's a mandatory pole on the right that you have to go left of, and there'll be a drop zone next to that if you miss it. That hole is sponsored by Do or Die Disc Golf. Oh dear, I missed a hole. We have hole 1A before that, which is back here. So this is kind of like the old hole 1, except we'll be playing from a temporary tee on the grass, and that'll be in the trees behind the yellow sculpture. So there shouldn't be much OB. It says OB long in the lake. So if you cross over that path and you end up in the lake, then you'll be OB. But that's a really, really long way. So yeah, you probably won't be able to do that. So that's hole 1A. That's sponsored by Disconnection, and hole 10A is exactly the same. Yeah, so hole 2, as I said, Mando on the right. If you miss it, go to the drop zone. Hole 3, exactly the same as hole 12 as well, sponsored by me, Good as Gold Disc Guys. There's not much to worry about except for the OB in the lake. All of this lake will be marked with rope So if you're inside the rope completely, then you're OB. If there's any part of your disc inbounds, then you're safe. Hole number 4 is once again only the OB to worry about. If you somehow end up over the path on the right, then that's OB as well. But that's pretty unlikely. That hole is sponsored by Chalkies. So thanks, Chalkies. Hole 5, short little one. We have the OB limestone wall. So there's a whole bunch of bushes, and then there's a footpath up the top. So if you are outside the limestone wall, then you'd be OB. So you have to have some part of the disc hanging over the wall, over the grass to be safe. And then OB in the lake the whole way along as well. Hole number 6, we play from up the top to the basket down the bottom. OB in the lake at the bottom, and then OB on the have you still got my screen there? Sorry, my sister just tried to call me. There we go. I'm back. Hole 7, hole 6, OB in the lake, OB right of the path, or on the path and right. And that hole is sponsored by Torwoods. Hole number 7 is a little temporary hole. There's 2 trees just in front of the tree that they'll make a double mando. There'll be a drop zone in between them. So you have to go between those 2 trees and over the path to the temporary basket there. So anything right of the path on the right of the fairway will be OB. And hole 7 is sponsored by Cause I Can, custom camping gear. So if you need any canvas bags or anything, hit them up. Hole number 8, anything over the path is OB. Should be pretty tough to get there. But yeah, that one's pretty straightforward. Hole number 9, par 4, anything over the path on the right is OB. And hole anything over the path behind the green is also OB. Cool, so that completes the first 10 holes. Yeah, and we go back to the start, I suppose. So hole 10, we play from the same tee pad, but we played at a long basket, same rules with the OB just off the front of the tee, and same mando pole. So if you miss that mando, go to the drop zone next to it. But if you go OB kind of up by the basket, then you can just play normal OB rules. Don't feel like you have to go back to the drop zone. It is an optional drop zone. So if you get confused about that, ask me or play a provisional and check after the round. Hole 11 is played from the concrete tee pad and to the same basket as hole 2. There's a mando pole on the right, same mando pole. So just stay left of that and stay left of that path, because anything on that path or over on the right is OB2. Hole 12, same as hole 3. Hole 13, same deal. In the lake is OB, and you may bring that path into play on the right, but still fairly unlikely. Hole sponsors. I should go back and do a few of them because I forgot. Hole 9 was One Small Goat, which is Ken and Sue Summers. They've just made a new little company, so they're One Small Goat. Hole 11, sidearm hole. No surprise, Briggsy sponsored that one with DSB Accounting Solutions. Yeah, so then I'm up to date. Hole 14 is sponsored by Disc Dies Gaz. OB over the limestone, OB in the path. Pretty straightforward there. Hole 15, OB in the lake. That one's sponsored by Torwoods again. So thanks, Boat and Gem, for that. And then hole number 16 is another temporary hole. So we played one version of this at Aussie Disc Golf Day. So we'll be playing from that top tee pad. We won't be using the bottom concrete tee pad at all. So we go from the top tee pad to a temporary basket out up the top of the hill on the oval. And anything short of the path plays as hazard. So you have to get over the path to be safe. So if you land on the path or short, then you play from where you land, but you take a 1-stroke penalty. Those double mandos from hole 7 are not in play at all for hole 16. So it's just the hazard that you need to worry about. And you could potentially go in the lake. And that hole sponsored by I Die a Little Every Day. Thanks, Beardy. And hole number 17, just the long version of hole 8, shouldn't have any OB in play, but potentially just that path on the right. And finally, the last hole, sponsored by Local Discs, the longer version of the par 4. You play from the back tee pad to that end basket, and once again, all that path and over on the right and behind the basket's OB. Any questions about that? Please chuck a message in the chat or ask me at the end. Just got a couple of CTPs for the day, which we'll go through really quickly as well. Hole 8 and 17. So all these CTPs will play from 2 different tee pads to the same basket, and you can claim that CTP from either of those tee pads. So hole 8 and 17, sponsored by Lightmore Candles, will be for all the females that are playing on Sunday. So if you're female, that one's for you. Hole 1A and 10A will be for MPO, MP40, and MA1. So we'll play, that's exactly the same tee pad both times. So you get 2 shots at it each round. Then hole 3 and 12, same tee pad again, both times. That's for MA40, MA50, MA2, 3, and 4. And then on hole 5 and 14, that's 2 different tee pads playing to the same basket, so you can claim it from either tee pad. We'll have a CTP, which will be for anyone at all. And the prize for that is donated by Collier Park Golf Course. They've given us a voucher for mini golf for 4 people. And then finally, hole 6 and 15, both are sponsored by Torwoods. Boats put an ace pot on there, so if you ace on either of those holes, there's a $40 ace pot. So I'd be running them. I think especially that one top of the hill, there's a wicked little sidearm ace run there. Yeah, I think that's basically it.
Yeah, Marshall.
Yo, boat.
I'll put another 10 to make it 50, bro.
Making it even 50. All right.
Yep.
Done. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Reese, you have a question?
So just question about 1A and 10.
10A?
I think it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that playing off the OG T-pad?
No, it's not. So hole 2 and hole 11 plays off the OG T-pad.
Yep.
Hole 1A and 10A is going to play just off the grass, just to the left of that.
Left of it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All
When
right,
we were
so
out there at Turkeys, we kind of had a look and thought which would be easier and get less in the way. And we figured if that was off the grass, then that made it a little bit easier.
Sweet. And just also one other question. You mentioned that past the path, but then mentioned that if you go into the lake, it's OB. But I'm guessing past the path, on the path or past it is OB, correct?
Let me go back to that map. So there's this path down the middle here. Am I sharing? No.
No.
Let me share my screen. All right.
Just thinking for like to avoid confusion.
Can you see the map on my screen?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
Yeah. So this path down the middle here,
I know.
I'm not going to treat that as OB at all for any of the holes. The only time that comes into play is when we're on that hole 16, and that'll be on that path or short of it is hazard. So if you go long in the basket to that path, then you're safe. The only way you can be OB there is if you go into the lake.
My only issue is that the lake is not really defined with a defined OB line, so it's going to be.
It's going to be roped off. It'll be roped the whole way around. Yeah. Yeah.
Well done, mate.
Yes. I have 400 meters of rope in the back of my ute.
Okay, well, scratch everything I said.
Cool. And sorry, that just reminds me, there's that sea container and that concrete bit around the sea container down the bottom there, which kind of comes into play on hole 2 and 11 and maybe hole 1. So if you're on that concrete around the sea container, that'll be OB as well. I don't know if I'll have enough rope to go around it. So I'll probably just stop the rope either side of the concrete. Does that clear that up? Any other questions? Just checking the chat. Nothing in the chat. Me? Cool. Well, if there's no other questions, then we'll basically wrap up, and I'll see you all on Sunday. Thanks again to Local Discs who've jumped on board as title sponsor. Really pumped to have them on board, and the weather is looking amazing, so it should be an amazing day.
I was gonna suggest about the weather, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool. All right. Thanks very much. See you all there.